Man, I spun that thing quick. Boy, that thing went like within like 8 months.
You blew through $1 million in 8 months.
Yeah.
And you're how old at that time?
I was 18.
In 2019, YK Osiris looked like the future of R&B. With viral hits like Valentine and Worth It, fans thought he was on his way to becoming the next big superstar. But just a few years later, he's no longer known for his music. He's become a walking meme, the punchline of the industry. How does someone go from chart-topping success to internet ridicule so fast? From money scandals with Drake and Lil Baby, to public controversies, to decisions that left fans shaking their heads, Osiris's career didn't just stall, it collapsed. This is the tragic fall of YK Osiris, and the story of how a promising young talent let fame slip through his fingers. Osiris Jal Williams, better known today as YK Osiris, grew up in Jacksonville, Florida, in a crowded household with 6 sisters. From the very beginning, he carried the weight of responsibility, feeling a constant urge to help provide for his family. But the way he went about it wasn't always clean. He later admitted that as a teenager, he chased quick money any way he could. "I used to be hungry for money. Like I'd probably go in cars, crack cars, and stuff like that. Open cars, they open, stuff like that. I did a lot of stuff, man. Hard-headed stuff. I used to be out late nights trying to get money, you know." That hunger, combined with a stubborn streak, led him toward risky choices. Yet even as he flirted with trouble, Osiris had another outlet: music. Singing gave him an escape route from the streets, a chance to dream beyond Jacksonville's limits. By 2017, still a teenager, he began releasing tracks online. Unlike many artists who grind for years in obscurity, Osiris found momentum almost instantly. His breakthrough came with the song Valentine, which went viral and racked up over 100 million streams on Spotify. He was only 18 years old. The song struck a chord because it felt like a throwback to the glory days when R&B ruled radio. A young voice full of passion, serenading the ladies with honesty and melody. Listeners quickly began to imagine him alongside the biggest stars in the world. Comments flooded in. "I need to hear a collab with Justin, Nicki, Drake, and Fetty. This dude is about to blow all the way up." The formula seemed perfect. R&B has always thrived on young talent singing to the hearts of women, and Osiris fit that mold effortlessly. So when Valentine exploded, labels lined up, and in April 2018, Def Jam signed him. Under their banner, he dropped Worth It in February 2019. The song became his defining moment, a platinum-certified smash that spread across radio, clubs, and playlists everywhere. "I'll give you the world, baby girl, you just got to be." The hook cemented him as one of R&B's hottest new voices. For Def Jam, it felt like striking gold. For Osiris, it was validation that his gamble on music had paid off. The hype pushed his career to new heights. The Worth It remix, featuring Tory Lanez and Ty Dolla $ign, gave him further credibility, and soon he was preparing his debut album, The Golden Child. With features from Russ and Kehlani, the project seemed poised to solidify his stardom. But when the album finally arrived, reality hit. It peaked at number 90 on the charts and, despite eventually going gold, it was remembered almost entirely for the 2 singles that had already made him famous. The rest of the record failed to leave a mark. For most rising artists, that would have been a warning sign. But for Osiris, barely out of his teens, the early taste of stardom may have gone straight to his head. He sold only 10,000 copies first week, yet his confidence grew louder. He began publicly labeling himself as the king of R&B. "I'm the king of R&B. I'm not saying it no more, and I got to prove myself. I am going to prove myself because I am the king of R&B of the generation." There's nobody else alongside his bold proclamation that he was the king of R&B. YK Osiris doubled down by throwing shade at some of the genre's established names. He publicly declared that nobody listened to Bryson Tiller anymore and then took aim at Jacquees, the very artist who had infamously tried to crown himself king of R&B just a year earlier. Listen, I'm about to break it down to you. Chris Brown, he's a king for sure. But you got to understand, in this generation, ain't a lot of singers. You feel me? Jacquees, I don't think he even really messing with me like that. Okay. He can't touch me. No, not musically. The comments instantly stirred tension. Jacquees, never one to bite his tongue, refused to let it slide. He fired back publicly, exposing Osiris as someone who talked tough in interviews, but came to him privately for advice. Hey, man, I was going to let the little breathe. YK Osiris. Stop knocking on my door. Stop asking me for big bro advice. Stop. You had my name in your mouth with sway. That was a mistake. The clapback stung, not only because it put Osiris in his place, but because it painted him as a young artist trying to play both sides, seeking mentorship behind the scenes while taking shots in public. From that point forward, the tone was set. Jacquees' dismissive attitude turned YK Osiris into easy prey for trolling, and the industry began to treat him less like a rising star and more like a joke in the making. Even as he pushed forward, dropping his debut album The Golden Child and securing a slot touring alongside Lil Baby during the Harder Than Ever era, his momentum seemed to fizzle. The hype from Worth It and Valentine wasn't translating into consistent success. By the time he began dropping loose singles, or loosies, none of them made an impact. His career was already showing troubling signs of decline. In a last-ditch attempt to keep his name relevant, he even tried to get into the holiday market with a Christmas song. But instead of reviving his career, the track flopped badly, still sitting at fewer than 20,000 views on YouTube years later. The lack of fanfare around his music could have been survivable. In theory, Osiris might have disappeared for a while, regrouped, and come back stronger. But instead, he did the opposite. He stayed front and center on social media, even as his reputation crumbled. And the more he put himself out there, the more ammunition he gave his critics. Soon, rappers who smelled weakness started piling on. They mocked his style, his bravado, and even his fashion choices. 21. Savage roasted him outright. Why? What was you thinking? You look like a suitcase DJ Mustard and Lil Yachty joined in, with Yachty posting a photo to his Instagram story and clowning him with the caption, "This vest ain't made by LL, and this Amen way ain't none." As YK Osiris's singles kept failing to chart and his early buzz faded, he became less known for his music and more for being the butt of jokes. The industry, once intrigued by his youthful energy, now saw him as an easy target. Rappers who might have offered mentorship or collaboration instead mocked him publicly, especially once whispers began that he had a bad habit of borrowing money and not paying it back. Rather than defend his name or set boundaries, Osiris made a fateful mistake. He tolerated the humiliation. Afraid of burning bridges with bigger names, he let the insults slide. When artists clowned him, he laughed along, giving off the impression that he would rather be embarrassed than excluded. He even admitted in moments of frustration, "Sorry, let me get my go up and down right now. Worry about, man so rich, man it on your next. You wait on your next. You." The ridicule only escalated. Lil Baby, who reportedly lent Osiris money, began setting the tone for how others treated him. Soon the perception spread. YK Osiris wasn't a peer in the rap game. He was entertainment, someone to laugh at. That image stuck hardest when Drake himself joined in. According to Osiris, he owed Drake $60,000. Instead of settling it privately, Drake turned the debt into a public spectacle. On camera, he forced YK to sing his breakout hit Worth It in the middle of a living room just to pay off the debt. You owe me 60 bands and you have to perform the song right now in the crib. What are we talking about? What are you talking about? I'm giving you an out. I'm not baby. I'm not boozy. You don't owe me 2 racks, 5 racks. You owe me 60 bands. I'm playing this song right now. You ready? Viewers laughed as Osiris complied, belting out the song while Drake smirked behind the camera. The humiliation deepened when Drake then had him doing push-ups on air. Fans weren't so sure this was harmless fun. Many began speculating whether Osiris was caught up in something darker. Comments flooded online. Humiliation ritual. Some sick stuff be happening that we don't know about off camera. This is starting to get weird. YK really looking like a kept boy out here. He humiliating himself just to get a verse from Drake. Drake doesn't mess with this guy for real. What stung the most was that Drake had never clarified their relationship. Unlike other rising artists, Blockboy JB, Lil Baby, Sexy Red, who entered Drake's orbit and walked away with life-changing features, Osiris never got a verse, never got a collaboration. If anything, it looked like Drake kept him around simply for amusement. And as the blows to his credibility kept coming, the trolling turned even harsher. Rumors spread that he was far too close to Sean Diddy Combs. Social media lit up with mocking posts. I'm just saying, never heard. They said he was Diddy's boy toy. I was in Jamaica with him. Oh, I see it now. See us in Jamaica with his alleged boo Diddy. Can we talk about Diddy's new boy toy, YK Osiris? Why you did this to Diddy, man? It's messed up, man. Even when some dismissed the chatter as gossip, the damage was done. Osiris admitted he just laughed it off. I think it'd just be crazy little talking stuff. When you heard it, what did you say to yourself? 'Cause I know you. I worry about it? A lot of people don't care about it. I was laughing. Even while he was still carving out his place in the industry, YK Osiris found himself reduced to a punchline by other rising stars. Jack Harlow, who was building a reputation as one of hip-hop's sharpest and most quick-witted newcomers, casually used Osiris as comedic fodder. YK Osiris came in the building. Why isn't everybody tripping? But I feel like people are trying to play it cool. Like, you know how people are around the Drakes, Kendricks, the YK Osirises? I grew up listening to YK. He's one of my biggest influences. Like he's the reason I really got into this raps. It was sarcasm, of course, but the joke landed, reinforcing the image of Osiris not as a respected peer, but as an industry punchline. By then, he had already been clowned by rappers like Lil Baby, Drake, and 21 Savage, and instead of digging deep to reclaim respect, he veered in another direction. Rather than fight back with music, Osiris tried to change the narrative by framing fame itself as hollow and toxic. He started speaking out about how appearances were deceiving, hoping to gain sympathy from fans. This industry is not what you think it is. Don't let these people fool you, man. My life is not perfect, man. Don't think because I'm on Instagram showing this, showing that, I don't got a perfect life either. These people always faking and let you know that this is not what y'all want. But the tactic didn't work. If anything, it backfired. Fans and peers alike saw through the contradiction. Osiris claimed he was above the fake glitz of the industry, yet still chased approval from the very rappers who mocked him. That contradiction came to a head in July 2023 when Tory Lanez, who once gave him a boost by jumping on the Worth It remix, publicly laughed at his new music. For Osiris, it felt like betrayal. He took to social media to vent, showing just how much the ridicule cut him. Hey, first of all, Tory, I just want to say you one of the GOATs. I gave you your flowers, you one of the ones. I look up to you for sure. Vocals are amazing, you can't deny that. So let's get it understood. I don't with this. You one of my posts, you know, laughing and giggling at my heart. I don't with you like that. I was just in Vegas with you on some brothers, whatever you want to call it, and that's why I don't with a lot of in the industry 'cause you was fake. But I get it 'cause, a lot of I put on myself, so I get it. It was another public low point, one that highlighted just how isolated Osiris had become. Instead of standing firm and letting his music speak for itself, he was caught begging for validation while calling out the very people who mocked him. Even his fans began to feel conflicted. They still appreciated his voice, but the constant drama made it hard to stand by him. Comments from supporters were blunt. YK Osiris isn't trash. I think he's just corny. Props to him for being himself, but if people think you're a goof, it affects the music. YK Osiris is too sporadic and all over the place with his thoughts and feelings. He needs to lock in and drop all the social media antics. YK Osiris's attempts to rebuild his image kept unraveling. Instead of following the advice of fans and focusing on music, he found himself wrapped in controversy once again. This time, it was over a promise he never kept. When a grieving family launched a GoFundMe to cover funeral expenses, Osiris publicly claimed he would step in and handle the costs. At first, the gesture seemed like the kind of goodwill that could help him repair his image. But soon, the truth came out. He hadn't donated a dime. Fans were furious, accusing him of using tragedy for clout. Stop pretending you're giving back to the community just to get your sales up. Lame as hell, the backlash was swift. Instead of being seen as generous, Osiris's name became tied to dishonesty and empty promises. And worse, this controversy arrived just as his finances were collapsing behind the scenes. Not long after, he admitted that the wealth he once flaunted had vanished. Despite the success of Worth It, Osiris revealed he had blown through nearly all of his earnings within a few short years. I went broke so goddamn quick, man. 3 years ago, when Worth It came out, man, I blew that money so goddamn fast. I gave my mama like $250, and then by the time taxes, they come out during that year. By the time my accountant said this, how much you owe. I said, I think I owe like 190. It was crazy. Like the money went so quick, bro. When you don't have it, it's like when you get it, your mindset changes. So many things. Like you start buying so much stuff. 300,000 in clothes, man. That's so stupid. That's stupid, man. What he thought was endless money from one smash hit disappeared almost overnight. Instead of carefully investing, he splurged on luxuries, convinced that bigger checks were always around the corner. But those checks never came, and before long, Osiris wasn't just broke. He was the punchline of the industry. The ridicule wore on him until he finally cracked. Tired of being mocked, tired of being remembered for his antics instead of his talent, he had a meltdown on social media. But instead of regaining respect, the outburst only highlighted how far he had fallen. Y'all keep using that Drake or no, huh? Me and Drake don't talk. Me and DaBaby don't talk. You can't keep using that. Like, stop. Like, nobody mess with Osiris, so why the You don't have nobody. Like, what the all you on this earth for? I came to see my kids. Haven't made no music. I haven't made no money from music in like 2.5 years. I just want to. That's what I want. I want. For years, fans and fellow rappers had laughed at YK Osiris's humiliations, watching Drake, Lil Baby, and others turn him into a running joke. But after his public meltdown, the mood briefly shifted. People began to realize that constant ridicule, mixed with the pressure of fading fame, could take a real toll on someone's mental health. Even some who had mocked him before admitted they felt uneasy. I actually feel bad for him, and it's definitely something deeper going on. The industry targets those who are weak and desperate to make it. Stand strong. In that moment, sympathy crept into the conversation. Artists like Big Sean even reached out, reminding Osiris that throwing it all away wasn't the answer. For a short while, it looked like YK might take the wake-up call seriously. He spoke as if he was ready to start fresh, to rebuild himself as an artist rather than a meme. But first impressions are hard to erase, and Osiris still couldn't seem to stay out of his own way. Not long after, news broke that Def Jam had officially dropped him. After just 4 years with the label and only one full-length album released, his tenure was over. It was a stark fall from grace for someone who, back in the days of Valentine and Worth It, had labels fighting to sign him. His brand had deteriorated so badly that the same industry that once saw dollar signs now saw dead weight. Technically, going independent gave him a chance at a fresh start. He could reinvent himself outside of major label control, but instead of seizing that opportunity, his old habits dragged him right back into trouble. Soon, headlines weren't about new music. They were about unpaid debts, shady behavior, and accusations of scamming. Barbers claimed he stiffed them on payments. YouTubers came forward with stories of being hustled by him. One in particular told a detailed account of how Osiris allegedly set him up with a basketball wager. Basically, YK Osiris is a known scammer now, but a couple years ago I got a DM from him, and the DM was just like, 1v, 1 me for $10,000 basketball. And I looked at his page and I was like, this dude looks mad short, like skinny. And I started watching videos of him hooping. I'm like, oh, bro, I'm so down. I'll make a lit YouTube video out of it like I played a rapper for 10,000. According to the YouTuber, Osiris pulled up to his house ready to play. But when he realized how tall his opponent was, his confidence wavered. He's like, oh my God, you're so much taller than I thought. And then, bro, we go to the court. I literally got my $10,000 out of the bank. I had it ready in cash, ready to go. And so I played him, and I beat him pretty quick. And he's like, oh, double or nothing. And I'm like, yeah, why not? And then I beat him double or nothing. Then he's like, double or nothing. I beat him double or nothing. And it probably was more than $60,000. I lost track, bro, because we played like 5 times. The story took an even stranger turn when Osiris allegedly tried to bluff his way out of paying. Like the 5th game, he was up like 9-3 and it was to 11. And I came back, bro. I was so tired. I was like, I'm going to buy a new deck for my house. I'm going to upgrade this. And bro, after, he was like, oh, that's nothing for me. Like I could play 1 show, I get 100K. And he has me like call his fake accountant. And I'm like on the phone with his accountant giving them my bank details. He left. I never got the money. I hit him, and then he stopped responding to me. I was like, I'm going to just leave it. As more stories of unpaid debts and questionable behavior surfaced, the small amount of sympathy YK Osiris had built began to evaporate. Fans who once pitied him now saw him as nothing more than a hypocrite and a clout chaser. They reminded each other of his emotional outbursts online, where he cried on camera about being ignored by celebrities, and contrasted it with his own track record of not paying people back. He's the same one who cried on camera 'cause celebrities wasn't messing with him. But it's no wonder why. The dude never pays off his debt. Same with the girl. He wouldn't even pay to cut his hair. By then, Osiris's image had sunk so low that even the most harmless things became reasons for ridicule. When he got his hair braided, instead of compliments, the internet lit up with jokes comparing him to a child actor. Why is YK Osiris out here looking like Lil Bow Wow from Like Mike? No matter what he did, the way people saw him was frozen in time. His career was no longer associated with the viral R&B records that once launched him, but with the string of humiliations and bad decisions that followed. Fans summed him up in a single phrase. YK Osiris is cute and corny. He's handsome but seems like a punching bag and like he always gets bullied. For a moment, it seemed like at least he still had women defending him. His looks and charm bought him a little leniency. But that illusion collapsed in June 2023, when he crossed a line that even his supporters couldn't excuse. At a public event, Osiris forcibly kissed rapper Sukihana on camera. The clip spread like wildfire, quickly becoming one of the most embarrassing social media scandals of the year. The backlash was immediate. Critics called it disrespectful and unacceptable. And even though Osiris later admitted he was embarrassed and insisted he now understood the importance of consent, the damage was done. It wasn't just another goofy antic or financial scandal. It was a serious breach of boundaries that showed he still lacked maturity. And that became the defining critique. Since blowing up at just 18, Osiris had seemed frozen in that stage of life. Even with children of his own, he acted like an impulsive teenager who couldn't read the room, constantly sabotaging himself. To ever rebuild his career, he would need to release music so undeniable that it overshadowed years of missteps. But as it stands, the industry doesn't see him as the promising R&B star he once was. Instead, YK Osiris has become something he never imagined when Worth It first went platinum, a punchline. YK Osiris's story is a cautionary tale of how fast success can turn into scandal when fame is chased harder than the music itself. From viral hits and platinum records to humiliations, broken promises, and controversy, his career shows just how quickly the industry and the internet can turn on you. But the bigger question remains, is there still a path back for YK, or has he done too much damage to ever be taken seriously again? Let us know what you think in the comments below, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more deep dives into stories like this in the future. Until next time, bye for now.